Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. This week, one single update from one company kicked off this massive domino effect across the entire tech industry. It's triggered some serious power plays, huge ethical debates, and just this mad scramble for control. So today, we're going to follow that chain reaction and really unpack what it all means for you. Let's get into it. First up, we'll dive into this massive new app ecosystem that basically just appeared overnight. From there, we'll get into the human cost of all this progress. Then we're going to see how the tech giants are using this exact moment to tighten their grip, how regulators are trying to push back, and finally, what the whole shebang means for the tech you use every single day. So, what was the earthquake that sent all these tremors through the industry? Well, it all started with OpenAI making a really fundamental change to its star player, ChatGPT. And I mean, they didn't just update it, they completely transformed what it is. Okay, so what does that actually mean? It means ChatGPT isn't just a chatbot you talk to anymore, it's a platform you can actually do things with. OpenAI basically flipped a switch, turning on integrations that let you control other apps right from inside your chat. Think of it less like a brain in a jar and more like a universal remote for, well, the entire internet. And just look at who they launch with. This is not some small gimmick. You can ask ChatGPT to make a new workout playlist and bam, it'll use Spotify. Or you can describe a poster for your new dog walking business and it'll fire up Canva to design it for you. You could even tell it, show me some houses for sale near me, and it'll pull up an interactive map right from Zillow. The key here is you never have to leave the chat window. It's all right there. So how is all of this even possible? It's thanks to this new framework called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. The easiest way to think about it is like a universal translator that lets any app securely talk to an AI like ChatGPT. This is the blueprint, the crucial piece for a future where AI isn't stuck in one app, but can connect to and orchestrate pretty much any service you can think of. And if you want to understand just how big this ambition is, look at this number, 6 gigawatts. That is a staggering amount of computing power that OpenAI is buying from the chipmaker AMD. To put that into perspective, that's enough juice to power a major city. They are literally building a digital infrastructure on the scale of a national power grid, not just for their own growth, but to go head-to-head with NVIDIA, which has dominated the AI chip market for years. Of course, the other giants aren't just sitting around watching this happen. Google is in a full-on counteroffensive. On one hand, they're making some really smart, proactive moves in AI. They're integrating their powerful Gemini model into smart home devices, and they've launched this bug bounty program that pays up to $30,000 to anyone who can find flaws in their AI. But, on the other hand, they're kind of stumbling with their hardware. People are reporting that their brand new Pixel 10 phones are struggling to run popular games like Genshin Impact, all because of an issue with the phone's GPU. It's just a perfect snapshot of what's happening right now. This mad dash for AI supremacy, even if some of the basics get a little shaky along the way. But this explosion in AI capability, it's not just about cool new features, right? It has a very, very real human cost. It's forcing these difficult, really personal conversations about art, about identity, and about what happens when a machine can replicate a human soul. This quote from Zelda Williams, the daughter of the late, great Robin Williams, is just heartbreaking. And it perfectly captures this deep unease that so many people are feeling. She's talking about these unauthorized AI recreations of her father's voice. The tech has moved so fast that our laws and our ethics just haven't had a chance to catch up, and it's leaving grieving families to deal with these digital ghosts without their consent. And this right here shows a major disconnect. On one side, you have the AI companies trying to put up guardrails. OpenAI's new video generator, Sora 2, for example, it bans deepfakes of living public figures. But did you catch the loophole? What about people who've passed away? That's a huge ethical gray area. At the same time, you've got living artists fighting their own battles over AI-generated art being used in ad campaigns, which is sparking outrage over the value of human creativity. So while these companies are promising responsible innovation, the reality for creators feels a lot more chaotic and, frankly, anxious. This moment of AI-driven disruption is also the perfect opportunity for the established tech giants to really tighten their grip on their existing empires. So while everyone's looking over here at the shiny new AI tools, these companies are quietly reinforcing the walls around their ecosystems. Let's take Microsoft. For years, if you were a tech-savvy user, you knew the little tricks to set up a new Windows PC with a local offline account, right? It was a way to keep your data off Microsoft servers. Well, those backdoors are being sealed shut. Microsoft is systematically closing every single loophole. As you can see, they're just knocking out the command line tricks one by one. The message is pretty clear. Soon, setting up a Windows 11 machine is going to require an internet connection and a Microsoft account, period. So why are they doing this? Because the era of the truly local PC is being phased out. Forcing you online pushes you deeper into their cloud services, things like OneDrive and their AI-powered Copilot, which just solidifies their entire ecosystem around you. And over at Google, the fight for control is playing out in a very different arena, the courtroom. The company is fighting two massive antitrust cases at the same time, and both of them challenge the very foundations of its market dominance. Okay, so this slide breaks down the core of the fight over Google's advertising technology. A judge has already ruled that Google has an illegal monopoly. So now the argument is all about the punishment. The Department of Justice wants a pretty radical solution: force Google to sell off key parts of its ad business. Google, on the other hand, is offering much smaller behavioral changes, basically promising to play nicer with its competitors. But what's really fascinating here is the judge's reaction. She has openly said she'd prefer they just settle, which signals just how incredibly complex and messy it would be for a court to try and re-engineer a multi-billion-dollar tech behemoth like that. But it's not just big tech making all the moves. Governments and the legal system are, let's say, wide awake now, and they're pushing back. They're creating new rules and enforcing old ones, all in an attempt to rein in what they see as unchecked corporate power. Just look at this timeline. It shows what is basically a tidal wave of new state laws that require you to verify your age to access websites with adult content. It started with just a couple of states in 2023, and now it has spread like wildfire across the country. This represents a huge shift in how the internet is governed in the US, moving from this largely unregulated space to one with state-level gatekeepers. And this, of course, raises a massive question. Are these laws genuinely about protecting children, or are they opening the door to a whole new era of digital surveillance? I mean, to prove your age, you often have to submit really sensitive personal information, like a scan of your driver's license. So where does that data go? Who has access to it? And more importantly, how secure is it? Well, the public response has been a mix of serious concern and a little bit of rebellion. Privacy advocates are sounding the alarm about creating these huge new databases of personal information, which, let's be honest, are prime targets for hackers. And in response, there's been this huge spike in the use of VPNs, virtual private networks, in these states, as people use technology to just bypass the checks. But the lawmakers are already a step ahead, with states like Wisconsin proposing new rules that would force websites to block VPN traffic. It's setting up this digital cat-and-mouse game. And in a truly landmark decision, the Supreme Court just delivered a major blow to Google. In that long-running case brought by Epic Games, the creator of Fortnite, the court refused to delay a lower court's ruling. What this means is that by October 22nd, 2025, Google has to fundamentally open up its Android Play Store. The key here is they'll have to let developers use their own payment systems and even link to app downloads outside of Google's walled garden. This is a rebellion sanctioned by the highest court in the land. Okay, so we've got these huge battles playing out between giant corporations and governments. But what does this power struggle actually mean for us, for you and me? Let's bring it down from the courtroom and into the devices that we hold in our hands. With all this talk of data and tracking, it's really easy to feel powerless. But there are small things you can do to maintain your digital hygiene. For instance, clearing your phone's browser cache is a super quick way to remove old tracking data, and maybe even speed things up a bit. It's a small act, but it's about taking back a little bit of control over your digital footprint. Here's a quick guide to do it on Android. And hey, while so much of tech feels like this high-stakes power struggle, it's worth remembering that innovation can still be just weird and fun. Check this out. It's a concept from Google Japan, a keyboard that works like an old rotary phone. It's completely impractical, of course, but it's a great reminder that technology doesn't always have to be about efficiency and control. Sometimes it can just be about creative play. And this all brings us to the central question, doesn't it? The launch of apps inside ChatGPT isn't just a new feature. It's a glimpse of a future where AI is the operating system for our digital lives. But as these systems get more and more integrated and powerful, what's the trade-off? Are we building the ultimate helpful assistant? Or are we slowly giving up our freedom of choice, letting an algorithm decide which services we use and what information we see? That's the question we're all going to have to answer. If you enjoy this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.